Please be seated. Today, in his second letter to the Corinthians, Paul writes a shorter version of the invitation to a Holy Lent. Titus has sent Paul a very good report. Paul's second visit to Corinth didn't go well. What we call 2 Corinthians is easily his third, fourth, or maybe fifth letter to the church at Corinth, although only two survived. Paul has expressed concerns before about people claiming to have secret religious knowledge, secrets that you need to know. Ecstatic, mystical experiences are required in addition to Jesus' work, tolerated flagrant immorality, including letting those on the margins stay that way, through time to be reconciled to God. This reconciliation is a cornerstone of Paul's work, and it is the mission of the church. The mission that we have adopted at convention makes clear. It says, "We lament the church's role in the subjugation, enslavement, and genocide of societies of indigenous peoples, including Native Americans and Pacific Islanders. We lament the church's role in profiting from the selling and trading and genocide of people of African descent and the lasting effects of the peculiar trade present with us today. We lament the willful blindness of Christian leadership in promoting and advocating for systems of over-policing, the militarization of the police, mass incarceration, school-to-prison pipelines, poverty, and violence. We lament the resounding silence and the crippling fear that often infects the church in matters of racial reconciliation and social justice. The sea in which we swim, and for far too long, the church has been a collaborator, actively and passively. We've failed at the ministry of reconciliation that Paul sets out. The mission of the church is to restore all people to unity with God and each other in Christ. Something else on, or giving something else up as we go into Super Lent. Super Lent is the Lent that can't really start today, because Paul speaks to that too. He doesn't advise for or against is the acceptable time. See, now is the day of salvation. Has done the ultimate work of reconciliation. Jesus, Paul writes, is the one, although he himself had one, not speaking in tongues, not secret knowledge. Jesus, the Son of God, takes sin upon himself and reconciles humanity. That Jesus has accomplished the work of salvation. Paul makes a point of making that part easy, putting no obstacle in anyone's ways as compared to those teaching a gospel and doctrine beyond Jesus. Perhaps the hardest part of the gospel of Jesus' grace should be the difficult part, rather than the changed life, which winds up being the challenge. Surely, we tell ourselves, grace isn't really free. Our sins haven't really been put away as far as the east is. Paul is trying to assure the church in Corinth. Always want the other side to face serious punishment. How we failed at our efforts of reconciliation, and then amend our lives and mend our relationships. Mystical experiences or secret knowledge. The difficult part of Christianity is accepting the grace freely made available to us through Jesus, and letting it change our lives by looking for ways. You may choose to fast. Isn't a just for Lent discipline. With God and with one another It's a time to turn to Jesus. Accept his. This Lent, I'm not back up at Easter. I'm asking that we change our heart. As Paul is the day of